Finally, I'm live. Welcome back, After Hours. It's gonna bumper like crazy. Hopefully not. Thank you for tuning in. If you do, we've got a case here, a computer case. It's gonna be very good stuff. We're gonna put parts into it. Believe it? Am I just standing there? I am. And the parts we're gonna put in. Well, let's take a look at them, shall we? Yeah, we shall. We should be live. Should be live. Alright, send it. Do you like building computers? Nope, not that. Do you like building computers? I like building computers. Motherboard, RAM, i7-9700K. Let's get ready to do this. Got the power supply, water going for the CPU, graphics card, and let's not forget the case. So if you're ready to do this, let's do it. And we got our parts. So, what can we do with these? Thumbs up if you're ready to do this PC build. Actually, we just went over them, so let's get them out of the way. The only thing we didn't showcase really was the SSDs. However, we can do that now, I suppose. Let's get our Super Sony over here in the way in case we're going to use it. We can always use the light from the Super Sony camera. The case, I think we're going to have it out of the way for the most part. I actually did take a moment and take it out of the box too, so it wasn't quite as heavy as I made out. Wasn't quite as heavy as I'd made out. However, did I lose my chat? Let me pull that back up in case I want to see anything. It's always hard to see. Get out of here, Sony camera. Get out of the dang way. Where's the chat? Just in case. Nope, wrong one. Okay. That, in case I need to see anything. Alright, kitty, let's do it. So we have the Thermaltake Core V21, not a bad case. Not a bad case at all. We're not going to use some of this stuff though. Like for instance, as of right now, we're not mounting any hard drives in this thing. We'll go ahead and take off the side panel. We're going to put these somewhere safe. Oh yeah, we didn't give a thumbs down option. So thumbs up if you're ready to watch this build. Thumbs down if you actually believed all that. Don't believe in nothing, especially when people tell you it's true. The internet's fake. Of course, then again, it might not be. I'll let more skeptical people than myself figure that out. Side panels off. Don't hit your own screen. That would be dumb. Extremely dumb. Let's put the hammer out of the way in case we go to reach for that. Alright. We're actually not going to use a lot of this stuff, sadly. Try and keep those out of the way. And we do have some wiring here. I don't know what way we could go to build this. I'm thinking We'll do that. We'll pull it out the front for right now. Number one, let's go ahead and get this power supply in. Now that we have our case here, we're going to move it out of the way for the moment. And let's bring in our Sony, start getting some of this stuff out. Well, there's people out there. How are you doing? We're not going to use most of this, so again, let's get out what we actually need. Yeah, they drop off. Got the power supply out. Keep you handy just in case. What is this? 6 plus 2, 2 6 plus 2s, 8. Okay, sounds good. We have that out. We'll keep that box handy. We have some wires in case we know what we need. We're probably going to need one for the actual to go to the motherboard, but then we have two 6 plus 2 pins. Sad. Do they have a single one bundled in here? Let's go ahead and give a check for a moment. And they don't. Sadly, they have SATA. More SATA. More SATA. We need to rewrap it. Okay, so we do have two single run 6 plus 2 pins. I really don't like the loops when you bend these around and use them, or run 2 of these. So we're going to keep them stashed far out of the way. We should have our 12 volt rails and our power supply. 12 volt rail, perfect. And the PSU itself, so let's get that out. We will need that one. Possibly 2 of those, as well as, oh, Molex. Who's going to use Molex? 20, 19. We'll brighten that up a little bit. So we'll get both of our 12 volt rails out. I didn't take a look at the board, but we'll keep them out. so let's take a look. We have, for our power supply, we're not going to use that. Get it out of here. A kid, actually, a build that somebody tried to do, they used this, connected their Molex to their power supply, and then plugged one of these, split it out to two of the fan headers on the motherboard, and it nuked some stuff in that build. We built them a new computer. So don't do that. Now we've got our GPU and GPU. We'll get to these later, so for now we're going to keep them bundled up, but off to the side. Volt rails. Yeah, we only need one. And what are you? Six plus two, 6 plus 2, 6 plus 2 again. So yeah, we're only going to need in total 2 of those. Let's throw this back in the box, and then our 12-volt rail, we'll only need 1 of those. And then our PSU. So we have that stuff sorted. Let's go ahead through and get some other stuff out and ready to go. Set our RAM off to the side, have it ready to go. CPU. I'm going to keep that out for the moment. A little clamshell for the processor. One of our drives. What? Crucial? No sticker? We're returning them immediately. How could you not send a sticker? No sticker, Crucial. Oh my goodness. Flat Earth Santa gives us stickers with our products. Why can't you? Alright, so let's go over this. We have a few things out, a few more to go. Alright, i7-9700K, 2 M.2 NVMe SSDs, 32 gigs of DDR4, 2666 megahertz. I'll put you to the side as well. We're not going to need that. I can go back in. And finally, our motherboard. Are we even going to need anything out of here? We have SATA cables, driver disk. I don't think will go. Maybe if Windows don't recognize the Ethernet. night. Not nearly as satisfying as everybody says. If you ever see anybody talking about it, not nearly as satisfying as claimed by other people. I can prove it. Run the video back. Alright, now I do foresee one. No, I don't. Not one. Nope, no problem. They're both going to fit. I was looking at this. Here, let's take a closer look at this motherboard. I was starting to just like, you know what? Let's do it this way. It's smoother. I was starting to lose it for a moment there. I was looking at the wrong M.2 slot, so I'm looking at my hard drive. Or not mine, but the hard drive here, and I'm thinking, that little space there, this is not gonna, oh wait, it's there and there. So yeah, they should fit fine. I don't want to darken this up too much. Alright, let's turn this around and get it the right way up for us. What do we do first? Any input? Nope, nobody left to do input. So, CPU it is. We have our triangle, as always. This stuff is marked out. Let's get in there. See, this light really sucks. Can we turn it down? It's about as dim as I can get it. We'll try and cut the glare this way by lifting. We have our triangle there in the corner of the CPU socket there, and on our processor it's on the corner there. It's in the clamshell, so it's hard to see. Very simple stuff. Build a computer sometime if you never have it. It can be a lot of fun for sure. Let's see if autofocus. So there is on the corner is our little triangle. We want to match those up. Another way you can tell, you'll look at the CPU socket and it will be keyed out. We have an indent there and there. Careful not to scrape any of the pins. If I had a camera for the microscope, I would show you the motherboard that came out of the one build that the gentleman shorted it out. You would not believe the state of this motherboard. I almost didn't believe it. Alright. Once it's in, we're testing that it is indeed in. Hitting all the corners, the two keyed out parts there and there fit, so one thing I always kind of wish that Intel, AMD, whoever did, it would just take a little communication, make the clamshell a little bigger, but would let you take and store these off of the motherboards in the clamshell. It'd be a handy spot to keep it, but you can just put it back in your motherboard box. Alright, with that in, let's take a moment and throw the clamshell back in here now that it's out of our hands. Also throw that little black thing in there, or the CPU socket protector. Take you back out and back in a little. What next? We could do some RAM. Box. Oh, we're on the box. Duh. Okay, let's take a moment. We're going to set this down out of the way. I'm going to set you there. And we're going to look in the manual and see which slots they recommend populating, because we're only using 2 sticks of memory for now. We're going to see which 2 slots Gigabyte says that we should. Which 2 do we want to populate? Okay, so 2 channels, and each channel has 2 memory sockets following channel A, A1, A2, B1, B2. A1, A2, B1, B2. 2 modules, so B2 and A2. B2, A2, if we're doing 2 modules. DDR4, B1. B1, A1. So you could do it either or, doesn't matter. But it says single-sided, double-sided. Well, I'm going to call double-sided. And it's all basically the same thing. Let's pick B2 and A2. Let's see. Are you really not labeled on the board? Okay. Black. Let's put black with black. Actually. We'll look at that mapping again. So B2 and A2 would be the 2 black slots. Let's go for that. We have little peelies. No, it looks like we do, but I think they've already... I'm not seeing them. Alright, there's our RAM. Which slot is it going to fit? So we need to keep it right where it is. Okay, and right where it is. You know, I wonder if this guy has thought about, and if he didn't, he's going to have to run hardwired, but actually given thought to hardwired or Wi-Fi, because we have a Wi-Fi card. However, I don't think the case has any antennas in it. It does not. There's no antennas in the case internally, too. If we would run the Wi-Fi card there. But we could put it in, and if he's close enough to his router, it would be alright. I have plenty of antennas, but they're all for Mini PCI Express. I have none for M.2 cards. No extra ones. like anywhere. This stuff's still new, at least for our area, and the computers that we service regularly, they're all still in the older generations. Some newer stuff, we're getting newer stuff out there. This is for a client. He wants to play a flight simulator. It comes off easy enough, and we can put some antennas in there. And I want to take, alright, we have that built up to a very, very good point. Let's zoom this out and set it out of the way for the moment. I want to take a look at this H60. Older, I believe, not like the newest.
Here's a result from search.
Not the newest, latest, and greatest. However, it should work to do the job. That is wanting to be done, which is keeping stuff cool. Never got to play with one of these before, so always time to do something new. Warranty guide. The warranty gets its own guide. I like it. Okay. Included hardware 4x LGA 11 5 1366. Long fan screws 2011. Needed thumb screws. Radiator screws, the fan, Intel backplate, Intel mounting bracket pre-installed, washers. You want to put the backplate on and then wind those down. So B, LGA, yes. So we need the double-sided dealies. We're going to attempt to put this on the back plate on the motherboard now versus later. We have our fan. This is all one unit, some thermal paste there. Do we use that or we scrape it off and use? I think we'll trust what's there. I'm going to trust what's there. I normally don't. But with a new build, and dang it, do we have to get a SATA cable out? We might. We very well might. We'll see what they recommend for power. Bag of hardware, a back plate, and get out of the way. What are you doing? Loitering. Loitering in the shop. Slowboat Studios. In full action right now. I'm going to take a little C, we're going to take a look at this. And we need the B hardware, so let's sort some of this out now. Boy, I hope I don't rip this bag and drop it everywhere. What a nightmare. So we have this funny little key. AMD screw clip. Well, Okay, so that's going to go in the back of the motherboard, and then we get our B style ones, which are going to be, in this case, here's what they're talking about. Let's make sense out of this, because we're talking about B and C. So B is the one with the double fine threads, C is the one with fine thread, and then the bigger shank and slightly different threads. So B, C, if you're doing any socket LG11, 55, 56, 51, 50, it's this one, and then LGA 2011, 2011-3, 2066, you're going to want that. We're not using that, so we'll get out the 4 that we need, which are these. These little AMD screw clips can go in. We'll get rid of those. Let's see what else we're going to need for this. The back plate, that. There's that. That is the AMD one. We're not going to need those. They can go back in the box as well. I'm liking this already. Away with you, away with you. We do have some thumb screws. A few washers. We'll keep screws out. Shouldn't be a big deal. Let's get rid of this stuff we're not using. Less parts, less confusion, hopefully. So let's look at A and F. A is the long fan screws, F is the short radiator screws. So F comes through, F would be these coming through the back of the case. These go through the other side, washers on each side of the screw. However, what I find very ha-ha, hee-hee funny you get 4 washers, and their illustration shows 8 washers in use. So they have a total of 8 washers being used. Corsair, take a look at this for a moment, okay? Your little illustration here clearly shows 1, 2, 3, and there's a 4th one for those 4 screws, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 washers. Your parts list has 4. How did we cobble that one? So I guess realistically, you can just put the screws through and they'll hit against the fan. Be alright. Are they metal? They are metal. We'll get to that later. Right now, here's my big question. Do I have to pull off that back plate and the other socket? I'm betting I do. Wait a minute. No, I don't. It's good to take note that these do slide to match up with your socket, and there is a rubber standoff on it that will let it squash against the motherboard and not connect with the backplate for your CPU socket. So that being there, make sure those are in all the way in for LG 1151 9th gen is what I'm working on. And just one thing to take note of. Let me get this big clunker out of the way for a moment. When I was talking about removing the silver backplate on the CPU socket there, that's in reference to something such as this. This is an older Silverstone, I forget, blah blah blah, something or other. And you would have to remove that whole backplate for this to set down on your motherboard. And these aren't the real screws or right screws for it, but they're just something that worked. The original hardware was lost. But to use this one, it was necessary to take off the backplates on whatever board you were using it on. And now I have nowhere to put that because stuff fell. We'll throw it out of the way over there, pretend that it's okay. Alright, where are we at? Back plate. And these standoffs here look identical on each side. Slightly identical anyways. If you flip one end for end, keeping the other one the same, they still line up, so I'm going to call it good to go. Should you really just wind those down against that, huh? Without having some type of washer there for that to hit. Alright, we do have a tool that will fit, so we're going to go ahead and use that to just put a little torque on. Wait a minute. Oh, nope, it's pre-installed. Who am I kidding? Alright, number 3 and 4. 3, 4. Let's check them again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just finger tight. I'm not going crazy. Not using any thread locker. And now this is the part where I don't feel like wobbling this thing around for whatever length of time. But it seems that's going to sit on there. And we should have plenty of room to go down. Thread the thumb screws on, and we will put that in later. For I think we'll be able to do that inside of the case. First time installing the Corsair H60. Always wanted to get one. Never got one for myself, but hey, next best thing, get one for somebody else, right? That way, when you break it or mess it up, you don't screw up yours, right? Right. But what else can we do to make this faster? We have some pre-built standoffs in the case. Alright, so all of our let's not do that. We will actually dump. What are you? Nothing important, nothing that we need. We're going to throw all of our screws in here. There, move you. In our case, we have it will actually fit mini ITX and micro ATX. Mini ITX and mATX, micro ATX, yes. Easy enough. Probably be removing those, any extra parts. It's really weird moving a board when you don't have a CPU heatsink or anything where the CPU is to grab to move it with. It is a little strange. So I think that we may have hit our first hurdle. And when I say that, I mean one of the things you don't find out about when you pair up components, even if they say they fit. So let's take a look at this here. We'll move the Sony over to get a good shot of it. Alright, it's going to be in the case, but this little bracket for our back I/O shield, this one is in the way of this standoff right here. So it's 100% in the way of that standoff. Just the slant of the metal is connecting with this and yeah, not fitting So we're going to have to remove our back I/O shield and remove part of that metal, which is sad, but we can do it and it'll still hold it just fine. Let's take a moment and do that now. Not what I wanted to do. What else are you held on with? Well, I don't really want to cut this close to it, but if I have to, and in this case I think it's you gotta. It mounts there. We need a slight bit of room. We're going to leave about half of it. A little more than half. Ideally, I wanted to take that off, but yeah, it 100%, you can see where it was rotting on this one standoff. Not a good day. Not a good day at all. Tin snips and back I/O shield should never be in the same sentence together. We're going to take out this side of the line and see how it fits carefully. Not much, but that is the piece that we took out for now. Let's see if that's going to fit. Will it be the magic amount to let it not hit that standoff? We could only hope, right? So I think we're going to do this in two parts. We're going to put it together, and then tomorrow I suppose we'll do the Windows aspect of it. So again, this standoff here, it's very hard to picture, but let's do the best we can. Okay, so this standoff here, right where the bottom of the I/O shield is indeed right where the bottom part of the I/O shield is here, so this standoff was hitting on the metal. We trimmed a piece of it out. Let's see if it will slide into place easily now. Let our back I/O shield go in place. Almost. So we need a little more drop to it. I'm going to go ahead and just trim it Okay, so now, sadly, as you can see, we had to cut away the black line that I put on this way. We needed some more room this way for the motherboard to drop downward. Let's check our fit. I cannot complain about that. Everything is right where you could want it. I'm going to say A-OK. And let's get to putting this motherboard in. Let's get some case hardware. What are you? More. Even more. I'm really running out of options with where to stick parts for this build. Really running out of options where to put the parts for this build. Alright, so now we need to pull out a few motherboard screws. What screws do they have going into those standoffs, I wonder? They should be normal ones, however, I'm seeing... yeah. Let's try it. I like the look of those. The domed head ones. They're short. We shouldn't need sheet metal screws. Nope, those work fine. Okay, we're going to go with all the domed head black ones that are not like pointy self-tapper type. Put a few in. So we still need one, should be what, two? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and yeah, that's always, whenever you have brand new stuff and you're going to take and start cutting on a new piece of metal, it never inspires confidence that the stuff was meant to go together. Or is there some reason? You're just cutting a little metal shield. It should work. Anyhow, let's take a quick look. Here's the two types of domed head screws that they have in the case. Hopefully you can see a difference. We'll zoom in on those. one kind of has that little pointy. No, not the computer, my hand. My hand, Sony. How can you not understand this? So you can see the one has a little bit of a point to it, kind of like a sheet metal screw or something, and then this one's just your standard motherboard or hard drive screw. We went with your average standard screw. So let's put the last one in here and continue on. See what else we can get done. We're going to try and throw our power supply in underneath this thing. I was going to take the rack for the hard drives out, but in case this customer ever wants to add more storage, it will be easy to do because they are running not one but two M.2 drives. One of the M.2 drives will actually claim a SATA port. There's MPQ, MP something. I forget what they labeled them. Okay, M2P, M2Q, M2P. One of these doesn't use a SATA port. One of them does use a SATA port. So, if they're going to add more to the system, and you have two SATA ports here, 1 and 2 stacked up, and then 3, 4, 5, 6. If you do run the dual or two SSDs in, one of these will not claim a SATA port. You have to look in your manual for your Gigabyte, what is it, the Z370, or yeah, Z390M gaming motherboard. This is the micro ATX one. Look in your manual, look in the online manual, and you will see which one of these two is taking a SATA port, which port it is, and then you'll know not to plug in a SATA cable for that port. So it may take one or two, honestly, I don't remember. Some computers take one. The one I'm streaming this on takes one. It takes, if you put an M.2 drive on the back side of the motherboard, and I have an MSI board, it takes SATA port 1, and so you can't plug anything into it. Now I think if that's just a regular M.2 drive, I think if I would to use an NVMe drive, perhaps I could get that SATA port back. I'm not quite sure, honestly, how that works. So, we have a system fan, another system fan, CPU fan. I think we may put this in this area for the time being. Okay, that's good. We need to riddle out our front panel. Oh wow, and they have it all labeled like an awesome computer would. So we've got a reset switch, let's find it. Alright, power LED, power, hard drive, reset. 1, 2, reset is going to be the green. I don't know, you probably can't see that, but a reset switch. Where's reset negative? So we want to flip that around. And now we want hard drive LED right in the bottom corner. Power LED is the, we can't spread those apart, so it's those two, and then power switch. Negative is the other way. Negative is inside, positive outside. Alright, somewhat successful with our front panel header there. We're going to have to find places to tuck all these wires in at some point or another. For right now, I'm just running them to plug them in. We'll do cable routing tomorrow. Right now I want to see if it posts. If we can get it to post with everything connected, no sparks flying, no magic smoke being let out, not saying adios to the ghost, I'll be happy. Front panel audio, very well. Got the missing pin right there. There's our front panel audio. There's not a lot in the way of cable management for this case that I'm seeing. Another thing I've always wondered, and why did they never do it? I've always wondered this. Why did they not put in some key positions? Just, you got screw holes going through the motherboard. Put holes through the motherboard to route some of your cables through. Like, especially when you're gonna put your front panel header, or for your audio, not here, but like way up here, or you're gonna have a CPU fan socket somewhere. Extend it instead of having that wire run everywhere. Or yeah. There's so many things you could hide just simply having some holes through the motherboard. And don't run any of your traces there. Now, I'm going to say as good a time as any. Let's get into this GPU. Probably not going to mount it right now. Install it or anything. We're just going for out of the box. Possibly, maybe. What a wacky box. Indeed it is, folks. It's a box with a chopped off corner. The box with the chopped off corner. Remember that. We have an install guide. Probably regret that and never get it back out of there again. However, I see. What can I say except you don't get much in the box? On a more positive note, bing, I'm cracking stuff already, breaking it. They did remember to send the card, so I'm happy about that. Really regretting putting Discord back on my phone. Notifications 24 hours a day. Hopefully those Discord notifications can be silenced. Anywho, let's move our build. Yeah, I don't know where to, but I suppose if we move the RTX box, we can set it there temporarily. Put you there, you there. Do you ever meet anyone that takes this stuff and leaves it on everything, furniture, electronics. I don't know about computer parts. I never met anybody that built furniture and got electronics but didn't, or that also built computers. But yeah, do you know anybody that leaves the plastic wrap on their furniture, on their TVs and electronics? Do they maybe even leave it on computer components, motherboards, graphics cards? It's a funny place to have a washer bent up, rammed into a capacitor. Alright, so smart thing to do, take this off before you go to install your card. You can leave the one for the SLI bridge on. This card is going to use a, how do I want to say it, 8-pin and a 6-pin. Not a bad looking card. I think I will buy one of these for this streaming rig that we're running on now. Anyhow, let's get this out of the way. Bring our other part back over here. I do want to take a look at the other side and see, is there any detriment to leaving, what are these? For hard drives? Is it going to be detrimental to leave them in the system? I don't think. So what exactly are they getting at here? Let's slide in. Yeah, I'm just not seeing it. Hard drive? Let's test it. Is that what they're saying? You can put SSDs or a 2.5-inch hard drive in these? Okay, let's say at least for that millimeter drive, that's a pretty snug fit. So I do say so. You can move them where you want them to be. You can hustle it that way a little, lock it down. Any type of adjustment we want. However, might you also, if you did it right, no way you're running your SATA data and power wire out the back. It would have to fit tight there. I assure you that's not happening. You would be trimming plastic out of the way. Trim that out. May not be as good a snug fit on the hard drive, but then you could kind of hide the wires in the system. Has to be what it's for, right? Has to be. Alright, enough playing. We're going to leave these in. You never know what size drives this gentleman is going to want in this thing. And for the moment, we're really stumped. Why? And there it is. It rolled under the case. Alright. Actually, we're going to take these out for this. For the process of putting the power supply in, I think we want this out. And did we possibly screw up and should have put it in first? I do not know. What I do know for sure is we can literally set this thing on any side. And without any hassle, we can pull it apart. So I don't want to scrape it up. You know what? Let's get some trusty, almost all black mats. We zoomed out. We are. Get out of the way, Sony. We'll go back up here. So let's pick this build up for the moment. We're going to throw down our ever faithful little mats. Now this is on its side, keep in mind, okay? This is a Thermaltake Core V21. We just have both side panels and the top off. Pull out these other two, and the bottom comes off, letting us access the power supply area. We also have this sled for the hard drive that, if we wanted to, oh, don't bend it, we could undo a screw and this whole unit slides out. I'm going to leave it in because if the gentleman ever wants to expand, I don't know if he's going to want 3.5-inch drives in this area here or the 2.5-inch ones that lock in here. What would be really cool is if they made those 2.5-inch things work with this, which they already have some 2.5-inch drive mounts there. But if they made the ones that were here slide in and latch into these, that would be even cooler. But nobody was thinking that far forward, so maybe they were. Power supply time. I'm going to put our fan down. EVGA, why did you send silver ass screws? Silver ass screws with your power supply when it's black. What are you thinking? What were you even doing? We have one, let's go for number 2. It's a shame we don't have 4 more of the domed screws that have the same thread pattern as your typical case screw. It would have been great to have some dome screws on the outside of this in the back instead of the hex head ones. I really don't like the hex head ones, but you know, we'll go with it because we do have one. How many of them? 2? Not even. We have 1. I guess 1 extra is better than none, right? Alright, power supply in, let's plug in a few of our cables. We're going to hide a lot of the wiring down here. Power supply, motherboard. We'll keep the bottom off for the time being. So we're missing our light. So we're going to clip and want to fold backwards. Let's pre-bend that. Yeah, we're gonna get. It's almost worth getting shorter wires for it. And what else did I say we needed? What do we have out? Our 12-volt rail. By 4. Is it really running that much power? I've never seen a motherboard with the option for either on the 12-volt rail. We've got a 4-pin and then an 8-pin, or 12-volt 2x2 or 12-volt 2x4. Let's look at the motherboard and see what it says. Certainly we don't need all of those hooked up. 12-volt 2x2. Alright, let's read about number 1. We're going to go with the 4-pin. And this is where it's going to get goofy because, like I said, like no great places for cable management. We could probably take and run some behind the motherboard, but then we're running the risk of pinching it between the motherboard and the power supply because they're close together. So I don't think this case was made for its cable management. I think it was made for novelty, almost, in a sense, that you can move the sides around. But who would put the feet on the top and the side? I suppose you could. You top foot case weirdo. Why would you flip it upside down? You would put the feet on the top of the case, wouldn't you? You know what else we can do? We'll hide all the cables, run them straight up, right? Picture this. We run all the cables straight up, and these rails, these crazy monkey bars that we took out of the top of this case, right? We've got it right. So let's throw it in the right section. So these crazy ass monkey bars that we took out of the top for running fans and whatnot. we'll just install them. We'll pop one in over here, right? Just picture this for the moment, time being. We just run all of our cables straight up from the motherboard to this, and we tie it in where fans could go and hide our cables that way, then send it down to the back down to the power supply, like an up and down. Up, over, down kind of. I know that's dumb, we're not doing that. We're going to simply tuck these in the best we can and hide them away, zip tie them. We'll do what we have to. There's 12-volt rail. And what did I say? We need an 8-pin and a 6-pin for the GPU. And yeah, we're not going to run the card and then have that loop-de-loop with all the heat shrink and the zip ties. We're going to run 2 separate wires out to power that GPU. They'll look way better. They just terminate in a single end. They don't have like the wires looping out and double heat shrink, double zip ties, double case or wire shielding, whatever it is. Yeah, or mesh. We're not doing it that way. We're not getting too crazy. Everything should be fastened in. Let's give it a toss and a turn and see what's good about it. Actually put this upside down so we can start plugging in some of this stuff and seeing whereabouts we want to. Boy, oh boy, where do they expect us to put that thing? Let's take a quick look through. I want to see what that part is. Cable, so okay, cable ties, power supply, PSU bracket. So they actually have a PSU bracket. And how, pray tell, does that thing go in there? Hey, they made these cases so you can stack them. That's pretty cool. I don't know if it'll make sense to anybody, but let's take a look. So there's 2, if it focuses. I don't know if it's going to focus that close, honestly. Yeah, so there's 2 of the cases stacked on top of each other, and they show the little blown up illustration for mounting them together with the hardware. Pretty cool, actually. And nobody cares. Nobody cares. At no point did I notice them showing me little mounting bracket for power supply. That's what they call it, but they don't show it. So let's try and riddle me this. well, I don't see any obvious place to put this thing in where it would make sense. It does have threaded. The only thing I can see is possibly that, or yeah, no, it's definitely not that. That's not a good time, and that don't go down. This one actually sets down, kind of, but then where do you go from there? There's nowhere to tie this end in. I see. Is that what that's? No. I was going to say that's impossible. So they have two brackets. Tell me about them. They got little rubber pieces for it. Alright, now this is starting to make possibly more sense. I don't know where it hooks together, however, rubber foot, and that would actually hold it. Let's go ahead and tip this up and take another look. Yeah, no, call me dumb. I'm not seeing it. I don't see where it mounts. We have these little rubber feet and these two screws that are meant for screwing our two pieces together. However, well, that's clearly the fit, and then you have your spot for your two rubber feet. But where, oh where, this holds this dang thing in. Not the foggiest of ideas, my friends. So we're going to quit playing with it and wasting time. If it's vital, we'll look it up later. This is a project for tomorrow. Remember, we're not going for final build, final nothing. This is just get it together, see. Can we get it to boot? We still have to work out our CPU cooler. And I think we're right about where we need to be. CPU cooler in the fan. We'll attach the fan to the radiator of the case. Fan to the radiator, I think, is the format there. Very well. We can get some bundling there. And what else did I say we needed? The two for the GPUs. VGA 1, VGA 2. Oh, we need our 12 volt rail. Where did we hide that? CPU 1, VGA 1, VGA 2, even though it's not two graphics cards, we're just running the two single cables. Okay, everything. It's getting there. Cable management, all that fun stuff tomorrow. For now, let's flip it back over. And beating it up again. Okay, we have our 12 volt and 2 for the CPU. Everything else is connected, so we should be okay to do some kind of test. Let's get the GPU in. Move our Sony over here. And we want that to stay out of the way. And that, we're going to loop it back down, out of the way. Cable management, what a nightmare. Actually, I think this system fan wire will be better suited right down here, keeping it out of the middle of everything. Even though it's going to system fan 3, it's more out of the way right there. And then our USB 3, we're going to pull down and out that way. Let's pretend for a moment that we're going to be able to mount that Corsair right in there. Does it matter? Does it really matter? Let's... So how are they showing it? On the Intel side of things. Put it in the case and they have the outlet hoses toward the bottom. I personally don't think we're going to have the room. Maybe, perhaps we will. Let's see. Screw holes line up. If they do, we'll do it. If not, we're going to have to flip it. Okay, so there, and there, looking good. We're going to run our short, I think the short ones go through, and I mean, what choice do we have? We don't really have a washer. and then the other ones have to go through a fan into the radiator. Alright, my friends, we are closer, I can say that. Let's put these last two in the back of this. What do we do? Test it? Tip this thing away from the computer? Now, we gotta put this fan on here yet and find a fan header that this is gonna reach to. First, let's find the fan header. Okay, so we have one. We have the CPU fan there, and we have a system fan 2, I think, 1, right up by our 12-volt rail. So we can actually run this and boy, how nice would that be? But yeah, it's not gonna wrap. Suppose we could do that and then let it drop, or just let it drop and we'll do a heat shrink deal on it. Alright, time for those long screws with the... Oh, don't worry guys, this is actually washer. This is washer number 5 that we're getting ready to install here. We have 5, 6, 7, and 8 still to install. Not to worry. Washers 5, 6, 7, and 8 are ready to be installed in the system. We already used 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the back. Oh, you silly guys, stop it. Am I nuts in thinking that we want that mounted right to that? Can we not put something rubber there? Nah, that would make sense. Why do that? Nick, you're just being stupid. Don't question things, just turn the screws. Don't question, just turn. I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, it's getting late. That's why it's called After Hours. Ha 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 ha. Get it? I actually wasn't going to start this, but I was like, nah, you know what? I'm going to. I'm going to at least start. Do the initial build. We'll do cable management and Windows tomorrow. Later today, sorry, not tomorrow. Later today. So my one friend, one of his big things, and I never got it, but he liked to use electric screwdrivers, like drills, like the big pistol grip, to build computers with. Of course, he did suffer from many of a strip screw. The trend never caught on with me, so, you know. Alright, so there, let's run over this again. We got a Corsair, Corsair H60 liquid cooler. We have a Thermaltake Core V21 case, Gigabyte Z390M gaming motherboard, Core i7-9700K, 32 gigs of Corsair Vengeance LPX DDR4, 2666 megahertz RAM, and what else? 2 NVMe M.2 1 terabyte drives. What did I miss? Oh, RTX 2080 Super, and I think that's it. The H60 cooler. Oh, EVGA power supply, EVGA GPU. It's all fine and dandy. She be all fine and dandy. Let's coil those down that way, just a scotch. See where they be heading. That there way. Over there. And the GPU is going to be way up in the boondocks up here. We got our CPU cooler, which this is what I would really like to sort out right now. This thing needs, I'm sorry, it needs put in and handled. I think maybe we can wrap one up, one down, and get this in place, is my hope. You know what, I'm going to take this stupid plastic off the bottom. I really am. And when I smear that stuff all around, we're going to have a good laugh together, alright? We're going to have a great laugh. It's okay, it's at my expense, don't worry. Let's get all our wires out of the way for now. When I set this down on here, though, it just doesn't feel like anything is going to make contact with the CPU. I can see that it is, okay? You know, it's always just a little worrisome when you're doing something new. So we got one. Alright, wires is up out the way. Let's move our loop. And it's definitely contacting the CPU, I can say that. For sure. %, reaching out and making contact. Alright, now what would you do with these? Try and feed one up that way. Just leave it looped up, feed it down, feed them both up, push them both up. Nothing real great you could do. I suppose we could mount it sideways, but in the pictures I saw them coming off the bottom. Being that it's a closed loop, could we do something different with it? Let these both run upward, away from the case that way, and then spin the whole unit sideways, so they like loop up and come back down. Probably not. We'll just check it out like that for right now. We somehow have to get to this fan, which is going to be fun. That never happens. We made it one shot. Now the next biggest question of the morning. What do we do with this? Do we really need SATA power and this fan header? If that's the case, we gotta get out one of those stupid little connectors. Now wait a minute here. Would this not go to the CPU? It would almost have to, right? So there's that. Now, let's see, do we need SATA power? Connect power to the fan and the pump, yes. So figure 1, 3-pin, 4-pin, available SATA power plug, figure 1. Okay, so my agent ass monkey brain put away all the SATA cables. Let's get out the one with the least amount, if they have any such thing. So I believe they all have, are you kidding me? 3? You don't have a single straight through, just one SATA? We'll chop it off. Alright. So here's the big question. What didn't I do? What did I actually screw up? That's what I really want to know right now. I'm going to split this wire a little further down the line. Let it kind of disappear over here for now. And plug in our SATA power like it requests. Over 2 GPU cables. Wow, what a mess. Yeah, in need of much management tomorrow. That will be later. Let's go ahead and flip this again on its side. We're going to go for, is our GPU, we need our SATA powder, a peripheral, one of them peripherals. Oh nope, it's actually got a SATA dedicated plug, a SATA 1. Okay, that I like. That makes sense. Okay, get you out of the way for now. These Velcro cable ties though, however, to keep from hopefully letting anything smash in to our, what are you? Where did you come from? Tell me your name. Hopefully to keep from anything smashing in to our front system fan, we're going to use one of these fancy schmancy Velcro cable ties right now and tie some of this stuff together. That's right, Mr. Fancy Pants. Yeah, I don't think that's going to do. I think we need like 2 of them. Let's do that. We'll combine them. Combine 2. Ha ha ha. Lots of laughs, many giggles. Okay, you can be tucked in somewhere in this area, I believe. Cable management, one of my least favorite aspects of any build. We got a little bit just to hold them out of the way of the fan and tuck them in there, pretend it looks good. Coil all this in one go. Coil you and you. Much coil. And we're missing the audio. I think that's seriously got to be the longest audio wire I've ever seen. But we'll flip it down. Coil, coil, coil. Pretend you're good. So it ain't perfect. That was pretty close up. That's done. We should have been up here the whole time. Okay, so we have that. Flip you up out of the way, you out of the way as well. We're going to read up and check some reviews on this thing, see if you can move this in a different orientation. It's still brand new to me, so I don't know. Let's pull that off our card. We have a 2-slot card here, so pull out 2 of these. Of course, USB 3. You always gotta love that USB 3. Right in the way. Eternally in the way. Oh shoot, did we take that rubber thing off, or we just jam it in there? As long as a lot of the pins ain't blocked by the rubber, I think it should at least let it work. If we make contact with just a couple, it'll be alright. It'll be alright. It'll be okay. If we leave that rubber boot on, so let's get our first 6 plus 2 to make 8. If we indeed need an 8. And we gotta leave this guy just chilling. And use a 6er. Nowhere really to tuck him. They couldn't have just knocked out those empty holes and put a sticker that said no pins. You peel the sticker and just let this slot in there for ha-has. Ha-has, hee-hees. Yeah, they could have did that. Come on. Alright, I feel like there's some massive, big, gigantic screw up here. Let's put the bottom on so the power supply's up away from the mats. Right? Throw the bottom on a case. You know, put the bottom on just in case. Alright, here's where I have to... Oh, I know what the 3 are for. Okay, the 3 are for those little hard drive trays. Got it. Nick, why do you forget so much? It's a broken down monkey brain, I told you. Boy, we're about to rip my wires off there if we continue that. Those shenanigans. Should we put the feet on the top and run this thing upside down? That seems like the move. the water starts leaking, or the coolant starts leaking out of the radiator or the CPU block, if it ever leaks and it's upside down with feet on the top, water's going to fall away from everything. I think the top foot idea is the best one yet in 2020. Do you top foot on your PC case? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you top foot? I mean, really, we're not ideally, realistically, we're not going to do that for sure. We're not going to do that. But just picture, with the Core V21, we put the bottom on the top. It has feet on it. You flip it over and you have your radiator in there. If it does leak, it's going to fall away from the computer because it's, well, you know, upside down. You did the top foot maneuver, whatever you want to call it. Totally made up, but it sounded good in idea, in theory. On paper, it looks great. Kind of like, let's go to Jupiter or Saturn. That looks good on paper, but in practical application, good luck. Yeah, we've got our other sides, not important right now. We're going to run a check quick to see if we did indeed hook everything up. Pull up Mr. Sony, how are you? So looking here, we have a hard drive LED, power LED, reset switch, power switch, the front fan, front panel, audio, USB 3, we have our motherboard, 12 volt rail, the CPU is plugged, what is that, or the CPU block, water cooling block is plugged into the fan header and plugged into SATA power. This other fan's plugged in, GPU plugged in 6 and 8 pin. What else are we missing? The RAM's in. 2 drives. We're not doing any installs or anything now. And would it hamper the GPU running here versus bringing it down a slot, and we could like possibly tuck our wires down underneath it? Just thinking about ideas. We're going to have to read about the slots. See, it should be hampered if we put it there, so we'll probably have to stick in that slot. But anyways, hide all these wires. Hide them somewhere out of the way. Put the GPU in. I think it's 100% possible. If it don't hinder the card at all, we do that. Cleaner look. Have your side panel window here. See your card. See this fan peeking out. Maybe with the card over a little more, you can kind of see the GPU block or the CPU block. Possibly. Possibly. Alright, so let's do, what are we doing here? Post? A lot of wishing, me luck. Lots of places to tie stuff down now, so I feel pretty good about that. I don't have any dang adapters right now, so sadly we're going to run this out to a monitor. We're going to run it out to a monitor, not mess with it at all, just go to monitor. If it works, we'll try and post it to Streamlabs and show that indeed we might have chicken dinnered it. So we're going to plug in the GPU, send it out to we're going into input 3. 1, 2. Yeah, it doesn't see it yet. Let's get some stuff for our KVM. We don't even have DVI on this thing. That's how great it is. And what do we plug in here? Keyboard? I think we'll go with keyboard there. Use an adapter to plug in our mouse. Even though we're probably going to use it, we'll get stuck with a USB mouse and keyboard, I'm sure. Hardware's too new to like this old PS2 stuff, even though they still kind of put one slot there for it. No USB 2 on the whole case, as far as I know. We'll try that. Ding ding. All we need on top of that is some power. Still can't detect it. We're going to let the ghost out. Certainly, right? Inevitably. Still can't get to it. What is it? Gigabyte? The Gigabyte would give us what? I don't even know which one's which. Let's try delete and stuff. Delete and escape. Let's see if we can get to. Don't you tell me no signal, you crazy thing. Alright, HDMI is detecting something. And it powers down. Power on. I forget the BIOS key for Gigabyte. F12 is boot devices, right? I believe. Yeah, so we're probably gonna have to pull our drives, go in. Oh no, hold up. Okay. I'm not even gonna play around with it yet. How do we feed our power cable directly through our HDMI? Oh my goodness. Boy, do I ever feel dumb the later it gets. I probably just restarted. Alright, let's see. Can we get to our repair? And there's our repair. Where is our cam link front? No. Close that. PC repair is the one we wanted. Device default, deactivate, activate, done. Although it's not glorious, it is there, it is set. Like, I'm happy very minimally with this so far, that at least we have a fighting chance to get let's plug these in. We got a mouse and keyboard, so we can stand by the mic instead of being over by the KVM. Turn on our keyboard. Get our mouse. See if our mouse does indeed work. I like it. We hit our down arrow. Keyboard detected, and run into setup. Okay. So far so good. GPU fans are not spinning. However, not really expected. It's not under load. There's nothing to cool off at the current time. I'm going to call that somewhat of a success, even though we didn't make it into setup yet. Well, I bet you we did, but here, let me refresh the scene. Deactivate, activate. There we go, done. Okay, so we actually are in setup. We'll turn off that front cam link for now. Give me a moment, I gotta grab a cold drink. Alright, so to be fair, I've never been inside the BIOS of something that, oh, maybe I have. Reset transform. There we go. Bing bang. I like it. So we have the CPU, system fan 1 and 3. 2 can't really do much about unless I add another fan somewhere, some way, somehow. The 4 fans, if you want to count 4 fans on the system, the 2 on the GPU, the giant one on the front, and the 1 on the back, all running super quiet. All running is the important part here. We need to set this thing up for, what is it? We're doing RAID with the 2 M.2s. So yeah, that's tomorrow. We're going to end the stream here. If you tuned in at any point for any of it, thank you for hanging out. If you're into this stuff, you do it. If you like it, give somebody a hand if you know how. Fix something. Make it work again. Revive something. Pull it out of the trash and get it going. I am going to start cleaning up tools, and we'll do the cable management. We'll do our cable management on this guy tomorrow, along with our Windows install. We'll go into the BIOS, dig into that. It's going to be fun. Should we do a foot, a top foot, a foot top foot, flip it upside down? That way when the water leaks, it don't run on the computer. It's a novel idea. We could do a side foot and tilt it all that way, or we could do a side foot so if it leaks, it's more than likely going to drip on the GPU. It's equipped for it. Out front here we have the little magnetic badge that we can put any way we want. And if we do a side foot on this side here, the side out front, that's going to be even better side foot. Why? Is because it'll put our USB ports and stuff down toward the ground. It's not a great plan, but it's a plan. Anyhow, thank you for watching. As always, much appreciated. It's time for me to get out of here. I'm going to spend a few minutes cleaning up. We'll be back again later today. We're going to do the cable management, Windows install, get into the BIOS first, ideally, and do whatever else it is we need to do. Clean up. Have a good morning, a good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever time you get here. And thank you so much for clicking, coming over, hanging out, listening to the stupidness. We'll see you shortly, later, sometime. Thank you. Oh, where are we going?